This is the story of the Jews. Well, not actually all the Jews, just some that I have met recently, Rabbi Gary and Rabbi Lori. This is their home and a few people who stop by on a Friday night. It's Passover, and Jews who belong to no particular congregation, who may not have seen the inside of a synagogue, feel right at home in the rabbi's house.
I'm grateful to be celebrating both Shabbos and Passover with everyone here at Gesher tonight.
I'm extremely thankful for my health this time of year.
Samantha is also glad to be here. Last year, the rabbis helped her to reclaim her Jewish identity. They also helped her to find a doctor who could treat a rare disease she has. A year ago, she was confined to a wheelchair and couldn't use her arms or legs. When Passover began a few days ago, the rabbis invited some families with young children to their house. This is Passover as theater. It doesn't look anything like the traditional Seder, but Gesher is like that. Gesher is the name for the rabbis' organization. It comes from the Hebrew word for bridge. It's not a congregation, it's an idea. Their life's work, they would say, to reach out to Jews and help them recover their sense of belonging. They started Gesher about 8 years ago, and now many families who thought that there was nothing that Judaism had to offer them are discovering that there's more to being Jewish than tragic and distant stories. Their goal is not to have a congregation. They don't have a synagogue.
To bring closer that age of perfection.
But they help people find a way to make Jewish living and learning a meaningful part of their everyday lives. And if that leads to a desire for a synagogue experience, then they help them find a place of worship that's right. In fact, since they began their program of outreach, more than 100 unaffiliated Jewish families have indeed joined Portland area synagogues. But their real mission is to help disconnected Jews see themselves as the natural heirs to one of the world's great traditions of spiritual wisdom.
What they did was they opened their home to have us see, what can be done in a Jewish family. They cared enough to come to us and drag us in. They always made me feel like I was such an important participant in it, They may have made everybody feel that way, but that didn't matter to me, I felt like they wanted me to be there, and I did enjoy being there, and so I got feeling comfortable with being in services again. I think Gesher has done a tremendous amount for a lot of people, and in different ways, you don't have, it's not like one straight route that everybody has to take through Gesher to this or that, It's really, everybody can come in from wherever they come and they can go where they want to. But what ends up happening is they're going into being a part of the Jewish community of the city, and that's wonderful for everybody in the city.
Last year, after I celebrated Passover for the first time, I decided to convert to Judaism, and I'm very glad to be here with you all to celebrate.
Because of the bridge that the rabbis have created, people are finding a way back. Religion can make some people feel uneasy, but at Gesher it feels natural for Jews, many of them strangers to their own faith, to see their tradition as relevant and warm.
Here are two people that welcome me into their home as a stranger on high holy holidays, people that shared their Judaism openly with their children in a loving, joyous way instead of my experience had been very shame-based. I had moved out here and felt very alienated. This was live, it was real, it was based on deep belief in Torah, but living Torah. This was more than just words on paper. They were able to show me and include me in a very real spiritual and loving and joyous experience in their family. It had meaning. It wasn't a story about someone else.
Many American Jews tend to see religion as something that happens on a particular day in a certain building. Rabbi Gary and Rabbi Lori take a different view. To the rabbis at Gesher, everyday life has the potential to be something more than ordinary.
A prayer that I've been thinking about.
We were driving to the coast, and my son informed me that Jesus was in his heart. Now I had some concern about that, being Jewish, and I said, where did you find that out? He goes, my teacher at my preschool told me that. And so we called up Rabbi Gary, and he goes, we said, what should we do? Should we sue? And he says, and he didn't say this outright. What he kind of did was imply that maybe we ought to celebrate Shabbos. I went to Rabbi Gary's house, and it reminded me of being with family. They were sharing their lives. They were making a deeper commitment to not only their religion, but to their community. And there would be 50, 75, 100 people in their home, and they would be enjoying this and looking at this as doing the work of God.
Here I have two triangles, which represent actually the break that I've made from religion, from Judaism.
They live the example of what Judaism can be. It permeates every aspect of their life, Rabbi Laurie and Rabbi Gary, and that's such a wonderful example for us.
It would be very hard for someone to just show up, for Shabbat services at one of the synagogues in town and say, oh, I connect with this. It is a path. It's a bridge, and you have to try it on and get comfortable with it.
I think the beauty of Judaism and what Gesher helps bring out in people is that you find the meaning in it yourself.
I'm comfortable in almost every synagogue in Portland. Well, pretty hard to get there from where I was at, but I'm there now.
One of the things that Hasidic people strive for, the word they use for it is kavanah. And kavanah is finding the holiness in every moment, and that washing the dishes has just as much potential for holiness and spirituality and contact with God as reading Torah does. And I think Rabbi Laurie and Rabbi Gary personify the image of kavanah in a way that I've never seen in a rabbi.
I realized that if I cross the Red Sea, this is what I'm hoping is out there in terms of freedom. And
they're finding that holiness in every little thing that they do. And I personally find that very inspirational. And I think a lot of people who don't connect in a more traditional setting say, yes, that's what I want religion to be for me.
Talk to them about your job, and they will ask you about your life's work. What do you want to do with your life? How will you make a difference? Or if the topic turns to relationships, as they often do at Gesher, it becomes a conversation about the search for a life's partner. In the past few years, the rabbis have performed dozens of weddings. Many of the couples married at Gesher found their life's partner right here.
This year my life is unfolding miracles that I never could have imagined in a million years. I'm very grateful. It's good to be here with Jews tonight.
The example they set in their home seems to have a profound impact on visitors and friends. Here at Gesher, people can see Judaism as a way to celebrate and be in touch with the moment. Not that life is always fun or totally satisfying, but life is precious. And it doesn't come from dogma. It's all straight from the heart. Rabbi Gary and Rabbi Laurie challenge you to ask questions about your life. How will you spend the time you have? Will it be squandered or well spent? How will you be carried in the hearts of the people you leave behind? They make it all feel very homespun and intimate. Because of their work, hundreds of families are doing all sorts of things they might never have imagined, celebrating the Sabbath at home and asking what the Torah holds for them.
The way our society is now, we don't have the extended generations of family all living in one place. When one of us is sick, someone from Gesher is here bringing us dinner so the other person doesn't have to cook it. The kind of extended family that you wish you had around you, Gesher as a community sees that as very important and provides it, and that's why people are drawn to it. You know, in the last few years when we've had tough times, whether it was anything from, emergency child care to a personal crisis or whatever, Rabbi Gary or Laurie might be there, but if not, someone from Gesher who was like our extended family was there filling that role that is not met in our society nowadays. And I think that's one of the main appeals.
It's a long way from the shtetls of old, but the small village had much of value. Gesher is a bridge back to what many of us have lost. close personal contact with a living tradition, a sense of belonging, a sense of the everyday and the miraculous all in one.
Amen.
It crosses the space that separates the mundane from the sacred, the home from the temple, and the neighbor from the stranger. In the old times, Jews walked together to the synagogue. The Sabbath was not the only day they met and talked and cared about each other. The rabbi was their teacher and friend. For Jews who have lost touch with their spiritual heritage, it is a bridge of returning.